Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
IoT Coffee Talk.
Yes. Welcome.
Yes, Rob is driving.
I'm not driving. I promise. I'm really not driving. As far as you know.
Virtual background. Are you in the Omniverse?
I'm in the Omniverse.
In the
Welcome to my underground lair. Yeah.
Yeah, and I assume that is a synthetic data that's running around in the background.
So yeah, it's like a video. It makes it kind of like when you watch movies and you see cars in the back, or the back window, and
Yeah,
it's like that. It's like a video. Yeah, to create the illusion.
yeah, yeah. So wonderful.
Did you just fly back?
Yeah, I got home.
Dude.
Got back home, dude, from Taiwan.
Oh my God. How was it?
Oh, it was well worth the investment. I mean, I decided to go a little bit last minute, right? It was about a month.
Right.
I was thinking, man, this has got to be an interesting year to go to COMPUTEX again, because COMPUTEX last year was a really weird one for the conference because, a lot of the analysts who go there all the time will tell you it was primarily a PC event. And Brady Wong, who is with Counterpoint Research, he was a good buddy of mine in the Gartner days. He's over there now. He's a senior director covering the semiconductor industry in Taiwan. He lives there. Was telling me he used to not go there because it wasn't worth going to.
Did Ray leave his own company?
Brady. No, Brady.
Brady Wong. Okay, gotcha.
No.
Yeah, he freaked me out there for a second.
Constellation. I said Counterpoint, not.
I know. You said Ray Wong, and I was like, oh no, he left Constellation. Oh no. I'm not going to see him on Fox Business or
Mostly on Fox.
What's his name from Futura? We're both on Fox Business in the mornings a lot.
Yeah, Daniel.
Yeah, Daniel Newman. He's on Fox Business a lot. So just getting going with the market in the morning, right? Wall Street.
Yeah. So
okay, so last year was mostly about PC. Was last year like the AI PC thing?
Yeah, and that's what drew a lot of the big semiconductor companies like Qualcomm, Intel. So last year I was for Intel's tech tour, and they flew a bunch of us out to hang out for the week before COMPUTEX, and then they I don't know how many times they give us a lot of technical details, like the dirty details of Lunar Lake and as well as Grand Rapids and Sierra Forest. I don't know how you memorize all these things, dude.
Does it feel like all that stuff's going to make a difference?
Yeah, I think, it makes a difference for Intel, because if they don't continue advancing forward with their products, then AMD's gonna bulldoze them over,
So are one of these lakes gonna be built with a new 2 nanometer, whatever, or 3 nanometer 18A process?
Oh, the 18A, yeah. Lunar Lake is 18A. Not Lunar Lake. Panther Lake, the thing that's coming out later this year, probably toward Christmas time, is 18A. So that's good news. Hey,
It is good news because Intel's been too incremental every year.
Yeah.
They need a leap. They need a giant leap forward. Really, because year after year, you look at new laptops and PCs. You really can't tell the difference in performance.
Oh, and guess what? You're really not going to be able to tell the difference in performance going forward. Great, Rob. No, seriously, dude. Remember? Okay, so before we go any further, hey, remember to take us seriously at your own risk. Kind of like, being in the car with Rob while he's driving. That's very risky. You just don't want to do. Huh?
It's not happening. It's a video.
Yeah, I mean, but so that's hypothetical. Hypothetically, if you were in the car with Rob driving in real life instead of the simulation he's driving in right now in the Nvidia Omniverse.
Yes, that's where I am.
It would just be one of those risky things. So. Yeah, and if you do any kind of weird stuff, that weirdness is entirely attributed to your own decision making, and should not be attributed to anything that we say. And remember, if you are not into charity but you're into fashion, buy one of these shirts as well as an Elevate Our Kids T-shirt to help bridge the digital divide for kids K through 12 in underserved and unserved communities. And so that is a charity, Elevate Our Kids, at www.elevateourkids.org. So consider donating and making everyone feel good. So anyway.
That change.
What?
Take that look at the man in the mirror and make that change.
Yeah. Maybe that's what we'll call this one, the man in the mirror in the Omniverse.
Was Jensen's keynote?
Actually, it was pretty interesting. Dude, I don't know how many times I've seen him. I mean, literally, like in the same freaking room. It's got to be at least every other week in the past 4 months, and so
for sure.
I am very well versed in all of his talking points. So, there were some new things. I have to remember what they are because there was so many things that I picked up on. There weren't actually. This is the weird thing, Rob. There weren't a lot of announcements, and so going in, there were a lot of people saying, "Well, I'm not going to go to COMPUTEX. There's nothing going on, no new announcements." But I think more than the announcements was actually what they didn't announce. What wasn't happening was just as interesting as what was happening. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, obviously, that little thing that you love so much, the DGX Spark, little station that's about the size of a Nook.
Right.
That took center stage. I think Jensen has one basically in his pocket as he's wandering around.
Love it.
Yeah. And so, oddly, AI workstations, really big thing this year.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Wow. Did you have a fun time in Taipei?
Yeah. So, because, I went on my own dime, just some of these companies, I ended up exploring the city a lot more and having to use public transportation. Well, it was more of an optional thing, but, the hotel I was staying at was so close to the subway line. I started taking the subway, and dude, it is awesome. It's so cool. But get this, man, a ticket costs like 60 cents to a dollar. It's like,
oh wow,
ridiculously, yeah. Yeah, and then like an all day pass is something like I think it's like $250. Something obscenely cheap.
That's great. I mean, you could actually live and thrive in a city like that with that kind of public transportation.
Exactly.
Without owning a car.
Without owning a car. Perfectly cool. You get a little bit of exercise into your life. go up
exercise.
stairs. I mean, like, that's a bad thing, right?
You probably need some of that. Yeah.
I need some of that. I mean, I was like, I landed like friggin' bloated and not feeling very healthy, but after steaming in there, really humid. It was really humid there, man.
Yeah.
It's gross. But yeah, and then walking around a crap ton. Yeah, I think I lost a little bit of weight. So
great, man. That's awesome.
Exercise. So
what it's all about.
Yeah,
that's outstanding. So since it was on your own dime, I take it you were not lying flat in business class?
No.
Such a tragedy.
I was in the middle. Oh, hey, don't get it twisted, man. It's not always the case they fly you out business class. They sometimes put you in cattle class. So
yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's a good point. Wow. Holy moly. I'm trying to think, what was the big news this week? Well, we saw the Jony Ive video with
OpenAI.
Sam Altman, and they're like sitting in a bar or something, and it was so contrived and very well produced.
So
is it possible that it's a total scam? I mean, it's like OpenAI is, even though they're technically valued at $300 billion, they don't actually have any money. They don't make money. All they do is lose money. And so they bought Windsurf or whatever, the coding thing, in an all stock deal, and then they buy Jony Ive's thing all stock. And Jony doesn't even have a product.
Exactly.
Him and some smart people, which is great. Hires way back in the day, but no one would ever do an acqui-hire for like $6 billion.
I know. I mean,
it's insane.
Jony Ive is a genius, right? I mean, wow.
Yes. I wonder if Sam's getting some kind of kickback on the. I don't know. I just don't. I don't know. It's like it just seems crazy. Yeah, Jony Ive is awesome. You want to have him. You get him and whatever 20, 30, 40, 50 other people in his design studio, and you paid insane money for it. And it's not real money, it's all stock, and who knows what's going to happen, gosh.
Yeah, I mean, it's just remarkable that somehow companies that generate no profit, but just have a hockey stick ish.
Yes.
Depends on which hockey stick you're talking about. What do you call it? A monthly active user growth number.
Yeah.
Or is it weekly? Or is it daily? And by the way, people are really playing that game. They're pulling that card in all kinds of directions, man. Just up the numbers, and
that was the thing. That was always, remember the .com times?
Yeah.
And they just said, make sure that you don't make any revenue, because then Wall Street will be able to price you, and it's going to destroy your valuation. So as long as you're pre-revenue, and you don't make anything, it's mysterious, and you're the hot new thing, and you can have a high, And they even made fun of it, like in probably the first episode of the Silicon Valley TV show. They're like, don't make money. Whatever you do, don't make any money.
Yeah, keep. But then there's revenue and then profit. Most of these guys don't make any revenue, and they're nowhere near profitable. They're racking up massive monthly OPEX and CAPEX, and so I don't know how. I mean, dude, it was like when I was at EY back in the .com days.
Yep.
There was a partner that was going around doing a roadshow, and his whole thing was valuation is dead. There's only internet valuation. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? Valuation is valuation, right?
Right.
You're absolutely right, man. They come up with some kind of weird new science and about valuation, due diligence, what matters, the network effect, all this like nonsense. And a lot of it is to just create these massive numbers, because that's
I'm getting out of my virtual car.
Oh, okay. All right. And then you're in your virtual home.
Something like that.
Well, you sound a hell of a lot better.
Woo! We made it virtually. So you had like managers and leaders at EY back then, just saying that kind of BS.
Oh yeah.
They thought it made them sound smart, maybe, or.
Well, I mean, it made them sound like innovators or some revolutionary thought leader type.
Oh yeah.
All it ended up. Yeah, I mean, it's a formula for snake oil salesmanship, which has kind of dominated what we've seen for years now. Since then, right? Because Silicon Valley wasn't really like that. Because if you wanted to get an iBanking job back then, you had to pretty much go to Manhattan, right? You had to go to New York or London or Japan or Tokyo, right?
Right.
Those are like the three places that you get,
if you want to be big in Japan.
Yeah, that's where the capital markets were. And then San Francisco, nothing. They had Montgomery Securities, and then they had what do you call it? Sansini, the law firms. And then the VCs came in.
Right.
Well, actually, the VCs didn't come in. They were incubated in the Valley. They were like these private placement, private equity-ish kind of firms that came in and started, in my opinion, polluting that really cool innovators vibe that was in the Silicon Valley at the time.
Yeah. And Silicon Graphics.
Yeah, but all that stuff was like real, right? I mean,
Silicon Graphics, Sun Microsystems, man.
They couldn't just make crap up and say, "Oh, hey, look, here's a company that makes absolutely nothing."
and that's funny. I mean, they made hardware. They made real things that changed the world. And whereas two guys sitting at a bar at a totally highly produced video yesterday, where I'm going to buy your consulting firm basically for $6.5 billion. Whatever.
Yeah, I don't get that.
I apologize. I'm so jaded. That sounds perfectly legit. And I'm doing product placement for Dr. Pepper. Anyway.
So you had a good week, huh? You saw that and got... Well, here we have to warn our audience. This is like we are recording at the end of the day on Friday.
Exactly. So
we're even more disgruntled, right?
Yes.
Grumpy.
Absolutely. But we're looking forward to 3-day weekend.
Yeah, that's right.
So that's good.
Well, you are. I don't. There's no.
I was about to. It's funny you said that. I was about to say, but do you have a 3-day weekend? It's your deal. It's your gig.
Oh.
And if you don't work, no dinero.
Yeah.
You got to keep cranking it out. You got to write another 5,000 word document and get it out there. Pump it out, man.
Yeah, exactly. So there's no rest for the entrepreneur,
there are 2 documents I wanted to write, and I finally did. I wrote, they're not published yet, but one of them is, they're both about private cloud, but one of them is why Industry 4.0 needs a private cloud. And the thinking is, so much of that lives in factories and all that kind of stuff, and it's really on-prem and very edgy, and so I kind of did that. So I just wanted to get it out of my system. And then the other one I wanted to get out of my system was, I wrote one called The Emergence of Microclouds. So that's the little mini-me clouds that kind of have private cloud characteristics, but run at the edge, not in a data center. But who knows? Maybe in your car. I don't know.
That's why you need to go to COMPUTEX, bro, because if you go to the Vertex you went to the Vertex booth,
Yeah.
you saw these little micro data centers in sort of a car, like cargo container size.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
It's a thing. So, they are looking at more modular data center form factors other than these massive data centers that we see being built in Texas and Tennessee and all that other.
Right. That's exactly what I wrote. A large scale microcloud might be a shipping container. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Absolutely. It's all fun, man.
Yeah. So,
and then you can have your mini me microcloud.
Yeah.
3 NUCs, or it could be just 3 independent Snapdragon processors.
Yeah. Even small.
With micro clustered storage, and it's in your Tesla or something. I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah.
Could be.
Well, that is kind of like that, the whole idea of that DGX Spark, right? Because you can daisy chain those things. I think they have like Connect X7.
Okay.
For, connecting. So it's Ethernet connecting these, those X number of units. You can just daisy chain those things and then scale them out. So,
okay.
They can get
Love it.
Powerful, and it's all, NV linked together. Yeah. So you're golden, right?
And then pretty soon they're going to have an interface between NVLink and Neuralink, and they'll be plugged into your brain.
Yeah,
exactly. So you got that going for you.
Is the plan? Oh, hey, yeah. Speaking about NVLink. So one of the big announcements was NVLink Fusion.
Okay.
It's funny because it's like Apple Ultra Fusion, and then now that was like see, that's the thing. Apple, people talk crap about Apple. Apple was the first company to I'm pretty sure use CoWoS, right? Chip on substrate on wafer, that advanced packaging technology, that TSMC, to create the Ultra. So they got 2 what do you call it? A1. No, A1. That's a
M1.
Yeah, that's a state.
2 M1 Ultras.
Yeah, M1. M1 Maxes, and they stick them together, right?
Oh, right.
Yeah, and so when you look at what like what basically Blackwell is a 2 H100 die stuck together, right?
Okay.
Together exactly the same way, but that's like 3 years after or 4 years after.
Right.
So, yeah, Apple's in there doing advanced packaging before everyone else, and
they're not getting any credit for it.
No, they get 0 credit for a lot of stuff. But the other crazy thing is when you look at the new the M3 Ultra.
Yeah.
That thing maxes out at something like half a tera. What is it? 500? I think it's like 500 gigs of unified memory.
Okay.
It's insane, because one of the things that we're starting to realize is you start to move toward inference computing. It's XPU. It's big XPU. You have all these guys going around, hey, XPU. It's the small x is actually small XPU is accelerator. Big XPU is heterogeneous computing, meaning CPU, GPU, maybe you have like your NPU. And the inference workloads, and depending on the model that you have coming in, will use CPU, GPU, and NPU in different ways, right? And also, what we're starting to realize is that there's a tiered memory structure that you're likely going to be using, and having that unified memory. Think about it, how quick that's going to be.
Yeah, totally.
Right, and you have massive amounts of shared memory that you can tap between different IP. And
Right.
some of these models for inference are I think, run much more efficiently and much faster. So we'll see. But I've heard and seen some good numbers come out on benchmarks for the M3 Ultra.
That's awesome.
Some of these large models. So
I can't remember. Did you buy the latest iPad Pro?
no.
Okay, because that one has the M4, and you can like max it out and make it like cost $2,000 or something.
Yeah. It's like more like $3,000
for a tablet.
No, I kind of like went down your route, man. I just got like an Air, with the M processor, and guess what? It
works great.
Yeah, it works fine.
Did you get the 11 or 13-inch?
13 always.
Yeah. I mean, I have I've got the 10th generation iPad, which was the first one they had where they put the camera on the landscape side.
Yeah.
Not like what I'm doing now, but more like that. But I'm on the iPhone here.
Yeah.
And so, it got weird.
Yeah.
So it was a great purchase for me.
Yeah.
It's slower CPU and obviously stuff like that, and it was also their first one that had 5G in it. And so it was a deal, but yeah, it's not nearly as fast and as capable as like an M3 Air. And yeah, it's like 10.9 inches, I guess.
Yeah, mine is M2, but
okay.
Yeah, I don't really carry around my Mac all that much, if at all. So
right,
I use iPad all the time.
When I see you at the conferences, you got your little small thing, kind of backpack, whatever you want to call that.
Yeah.
Which is great.
Yeah.
Keeping it fast and light, man.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, I'm totally down with that.
You use what you use. You don't. And you take what you use. You don't take what you don't use.
Genius.
Yeah.
Genius.
Well, you learn after years of traveling, right? I mean,
because you're there, and what are you doing? You're taking notes.
Yeah, and then
you're taking notes.
Dude, think about literally how many miles we sometimes walk at some of the larger conferences.
Right.
It's insane.
Are you going to anything in June?
Yeah, a lot of stuff. I'm going to DTW in Copenhagen, so I'll be flying there for all the OSS, BSS, telco CRM. I think they're going to have like network API related stuff, but getting into that. And then I'm going to Cisco Live, which is going to be here in San Diego. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
Fly anywhere. Sensors Converge. And then
is that Santa Clara or San Jose? Okay. Yeah.
What else? I mean, dude, look at this week, man. We had Microsoft Build. We had Google I/O, I think.
Yeah, that's right. And you had Dell.
Yeah, Dell Tech World. Then you had Text. And God knows what. Oh no, Red Hat had their thing.
Yep.
Which catch up on, but there's like so much crap in just 1 week.
So much.
So
much. I've got the beginning of June. I got a NetApp thing in San Jose. I've got Pure Storage in Vegas at Resorts World. And and then HP's big event, which is the Venetian at the Sphere as well. They'll do their keynote at the Sphere
again,
like they did last year. Yeah, exactly. So a lot of back-to-back Vegas weeks actually next month. So it's gonna be crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty nuts. I know obviously they're all trying to show off how advanced they are with the agentic AI stuff. And
exactly.
Yeah, we got to give some honest assessments of these tools because they're, I don't think people really understand how you put these agents together. And this whole notion of agentic tuning or agent tuning or whatever this thing that Satya announced yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
How dangerous that is. If you're not on the back end talking about how do you incorporate safety, reliability, and then governance around the entire op and SD, like call it the, not software, the ADLC or AILC, AIDLC, right? I mean, going like, hey, you can fine tune, just push a button, and then we have a bunch of canned stuff, and boom, that's all you have to do. It's like, no, that is not all you have.
Oh my God.
You know what I'm saying is, how do these guys get up on stage and say stuff like that? It just blows my mind, man.
Maybe it just is the same stuff as the silliness you were talking about earlier back in the .com era when people said crazy stuff. And almost all of them went out of business.
No, seriously, man. If I was a CIO, if any, CIOs, I advise, take heed. Ask really hard questions, and a lot of this stuff is not going to make sense to them. They're going to go, okay, you're telling me that any employee can go out there and then fine tune a model, right? So they're asking ChatGPT or Copilot, how do I create a agent for XYZ? And they're going to go and fine tune their own model. And then they're going to create their own agent, chain them together using MCP.
You're down with MCP.
It's not, you know me. You tell me how that is just simply not okay.
I know.
No, seriously.
It's not okay. It's just crazy town. It's
it's like what do you call it? Shadow IT on like friggin' crack cocaine. It's
right. It's like a cocaine bear.
Yeah.
With my hat on and these glasses and this beard, I kind of look like a Hollywood movie director, don't I? And we're pitching this new movie. We're going to call it The Singularity of Death. AI's coming for you, baby.
Well, I mean, think about it, dude. It's like, oh yeah, you can fine tune on your own data. It's like,
yeah.
Does an average employee even know what the quality of data is? And where's the testing cycle? What tools do you have to help test whether or not that entire agent is reliable and actually can, consistently execute on a certain range of tasks?
That's a great point, because stuff we've always said or guests we've had on who remind us before this AI agentic thing got crazy or generative. Machine learning stuff, people said, yeah, but most of the people who work in machine learning are data engineers, and they spend all their time cleaning the data and to make it actually work, because most data is just crap. And guess what? Your agentic stuff and your generative stuff it's going to choke on it, just like old school ML choked on it.
Dude, I'm telling you, that's the thing. And so when I was at COMPUTEX, I was talking to a bunch of the like Fibercom, Advantech, and a bunch of other companies that are sort of doing the embedded things, automation, IoT-ish kind of stuff. And obviously all of them are getting into the AI stuff. I mean, it's like literally taking the ML problem and then taking to the next level of holy crap. You know what I'm saying? And nothing has changed. Nothing has changed. None of this stuff all of a sudden got so much easier. You know what I'm saying? Hey, my son just
awesome. He forgot that you existed.
Oh, I know. Family doesn't know I exist. They go, who is this strange guy?
Who is this guy? Who broke into our house?
They call the police or not.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh. That's crazy town, dude.
No, think about it, Rob. I mean, what was ML like before? All the AI stuff before this version of AI and What was it like, man?
You know what? It's very narrow AI. It's just narrow use cases. We are sending we're sending you all this data about every parameter of every little feature of a machine, whatever it is, a car or a machine in a factory. We're sending tons of data, time series data about everything. And along with that is when it's running and when it's failed or when it's about to fail.
Yeah.
And then over a long period of time with enough data, machine learning could go, oh, it's just finding a needle in a haystack. And it goes, oh, when I see these properties of the way this machine is behaving right now, there's more than likely the machine's going to fail. And that was what everybody was focused on, is uptime, is using machine learning for predictive maintenance. And that still is, they want to forecast when bad things are going to happen. The whole deal was, hey, we always depend on the old guy at the factory. And when he puts his hand on the machine, he feels a weird vibration. He knows, oh, this means it's going to fail next Tuesday, But what do we do when that guy retires, And so how do we replace all the what tribal knowledge, as we call it, with machine learning, And that's been a lot of work. And now it's getting pretty good. That I've talked about that, using that auto ML to make that a lot easier. But that's getting overshadowed right now by generative.
Yeah.
And so you actually have some tech that actually is finally working and actually can deliver real value for companies. But no one's even looking at it now because they're like, oh, look at this shiny object over here now, So.
Yeah. I mean, so one of the things that was interesting that I noticed in Satya's keynote was he mentioned you can intermingle with it with deterministic workflows, right? And so I also assume he means other deterministic functions, but that, so when you start talking about that, you're either relegating generative AI to a high level. So it's not doing everything. It's not doing the critical bits and pieces that are actually going to make something happen, your business happen with reliability, right? Consistency and quality. It's up here, and then you're squishing it. You're like creating like little isolated applets, not even apps. I mean, it's like, you do this, you just check this stuff, and hopefully we can tune it and do all this expensive, fine tuning so that you can at least do this narrow thing, going back to what you said, narrow little function, and
that we know actually works.
Yeah. And then all of these things are strung together in a logical flow.
Isn't that something that we heard? Like, there was a lot of noise and FUD with DeepSeek R2, but I thought in the midst of that, one of the, if you want to call it an innovation, and I think it was them just being pragmatic, was they actually used a deterministic decision tree kind of thing up front to vector questions to parts of the LLM or whatever that was smart in certain areas. I'm probably not saying this the right way, but they used a combination of deterministic and probabilistic to get better answers more quickly from DeepSeek. Instead of like, here's this giant mega LLM that's supposed to be all-knowing, it's better to use some of the just typical analytics that we've used to help fine-tune, what is this question about? I'm now going to send it to this small language model, or this LLM that's really more tuned to it. I mean, it's possible that's the world we're going to be going to, I think, because a lot of people are saying, hey, we're getting some good results from these smaller models.
Yeah. Well, so what you're describing is a model of experts, right? Or a mixture of experts. So that whole thing, and you're sort of right. The idea is right, is that you have a number of smaller models or LLMs that are trained on a specific, set of information. One's good at math, one's good at history, one's good at, let's say, science.
Yeah.
Have a judge or orchestrator type LLM, and that's sort of that filter and orchestrator, right? It filters the request and figures out, oh, okay, what the hell is this guy asking? Then it goes down to its orchestration function, and it determines which of these experts it should tap, gets answers, brings it back up, and then it uses like sort of a ranking to figure out, okay, which of these responses is most kosher, right? And so the theory here is that now, instead of scaling out a single, like what you're saying, a single model to be a gajillion parameters, and having that subject to all kinds of crazy issues, let's have these smaller models that are orchestrated and managed by an Uber model, so that the collective mixture of expert model can be a little bit more domain specific. Do you know what I'm saying? Instead of rolling confused and hallucinating like crazy.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So like from Chat GPT to GPT-4, which is like that step that OpenAI made to a mixture of experts model, we saw those improvements, right? But since then, with the long thinking and the reasoning models, there's some improvement, but it's flattening, right? These things are materially getting smarter. There's definitely a statistical wall that they're hitting.
Yeah. Right.
Dude, so a lot of confusion about what's the difference between AI agent and agentic AI, right? But the agentic, that mixture of experts is that first agentic AI, because you can think of all these individual experts as being sort of agents. Did
I hear you say earlier on in this just thread right here, did you say the term expert system or expert systems? Do you remember that phrase, that terminology?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Because earlier versions of AI were called expert systems.
Yeah.
What we call those today is rules engines.
Yeah.
And they worked. They're very deterministic, though, and they worked. But pretty soon, it's like, early days of Tesla self-driving is I'm doing rules engines and I'm trying to come up with a rule with every possible edge case.
Yeah.
And it's really hard versus I'm going to use AI and it's just going to learn and it's going to magically figure stuff out.
It doesn't learn. We have
painful.
This is a conversation I had with an AI expert, is that these LLMs don't learn. You have to train them, right? We learn, like we can observe something and then we can adapt very quickly and we can absorb new knowledge, and then we can change the weights in our brain, right? Like real time.
Yeah.
Today's AI can't do that. So these aren't learning systems. You can train them and then they can infer and provide that whole illusion of thinking. But that thinking is different from learning,
Yeah. Also, when you think about the experts and spanning it out to the right, history, math, science, whatever, for the audience here, I just want them to know that we just coined a new term here today on IoT Coffee Talk. It's called model sharding.
Yeah.
It came from IoT Coffee Talk. Model sharding. I guarantee you in about a few weeks, you're going to start seeing that in the media. And it's like, I sharded my model across different domains and it's working a lot better. I tried to do one giant model for 1 billion people and my system crashed.
Yeah.
Now I'm sharding models.
Yeah. And
my expert system is sending it to the right model. Just like sharding a database,
and you're going to hear a lot of people say, oh my gosh, I got such great results from my model. I sharded my pants.
They will.
Good one.
They will.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Oh my God. The level of genius here is just unparalleled.
72. Well, is it 72 and 140 144 is like, yeah.
Oh my God. Good times. Wow.
Yeah. So, that was a really good conference. I was surprised. I thought, because so many people were saying there's nothing going on there and everyone's at Dell Tech World, and I thought, it's like, okay, you're just trying to make stuff that you largely presented last year look like it's progressed some, right?
Yeah.
But
right.
Like last year, I was already writing as like, hey man, this stuff looks like VPN plus RPA plus no code stuff that's already out. You guys are just,
so
air on top of this thing, and then Dell Tech World, I didn't really see anything earth shattering, because I already know that they're doing all the stuff with Nvidia and ship boxes.
That's what every company has in common. They're doing something with Nvidia.
Yeah.
All they want to do is have Jensen on stage with their CEO and say they're doing something with Nvidia in order to pop their stock price and get some love.
Yeah. Well, I have to give Jensen credit, man. I was at the Q&A too. He didn't talk about quantum, so good for you.
Yay! Good for you.
Hey, I'm sure he really wanted to, but he didn't go off on quantum and try to say that we're doing, exponential quantum XYZ. Yeah. One slide that talked about how GPUs are enabling, like a hybrid model, which is okay. That's fair. I think that's a really good story, because obviously with accelerated computing in his stack, perfect for supporting the science of, computing science, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
But that's research. That's like stuff that is probably years away.
It is.
So I'm glad that he didn't go around just talking about, oh yeah, our next big thing is quantum computing.
Yeah, it's kind of like, I think his GPUs plus state-of-the-art AI is going to help accelerate our ability to get quantum to actually work and be viable and make it mainstream, rather than being a science project.
Yeah,
because it'll gosh, I listened to some podcast. I think I sent it to you. Oh, it was just an hour long. It was some guy who had left OpenAI. He was disgruntled, and he was like, he thinks AGI is like 2 years away. He was pretty freaked out, actually. It was pretty scary. In fact, he was funny. Who was it? Chetan Sharma was like, what is the deal? Why is it all the smartest people on this subject are the ones telling the most dystopian, scary stories? And then you have these other guys who say, we're about to emerge into a world of abundance, and it's going to be magical for everybody. And it's like, which is it? Is it the abundance, or is everybody going to be out on the street?
Because well, we talked about this last week, right? Both the dystopian and the utopian pictures both look dystopian. There really is no such thing as abundance, right? How can there be, unless you combine that with depopulation and then there's less people, less
Thanos.
Yeah, you flip the script on economic economic principles of humanity. Now less is more, less is better. That's not how we live right now. It's like more, right?
We're either going to have to take care of the population to pacify them. We're either going to have to build our matrix or some version of Logan's Run.
Yeah.
It's going to be something like that.
Well, yeah, that was the other creepy thing is, I can understand they always use a feel good or a possibly feel good story to sell the merits of these types of technologies, but they're using CRISPR now to treat genetic diseases.
Right.
And they were showing how, the young lady had rare kidney disease, and transplant didn't work, so they're now administering CRISPR to see if they can change genetic code.
And it looks like I'm going to have to leave here.
Okay. Yeah. On that note, you're right. And then also Khan, right? Khan.
Wrath of Khan.
What's his name? Singjin Khan? What's his?
Oh, I don't know.
First name. His name isn't just Khan. He actually has a pretty long name. But anyways, maybe the thing we have to be concerned about is people genetically engineering themselves into super soldiers and superhumans.
Exactly. That's where we're going to have xenomorphs on the planet Earth.
Yeah, exactly. Which, by the way, I saw that movie, Romulus. It's pretty good.
It was good, wasn't it?
I almost sharded my pants.
Pretty freaky ending, huh? Didn't see that coming. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, everybody have a wonderful Memorial Day weekend, everyone. 3 days.
Yes. Take care, everyone. And remember to subscribe, like, and share. IoT Coffee. www.iotcoffeetalk.com and donate to Elevate Our Kids at www.elevateourkids.com. And we'll see you next week. Bye. Happy Memorial Day.
Bye, y'all.
See ya.
Much love.